Hey everybody, how's it going? This is pretty cool to be here. I'm super stoked. Just give me a second here because this is my first time streaming. So, all right, comments are rolling in. What happened to the Antarctic? We will get to all these questions. Yeah, I'm excited to answer your questions, talk about the updates on the different colonies, kind of talk about my story a little bit, and whatever you guys want to do. So I'm actually going to set up a Q&A here, and then you guys can ask me anything. I think that's how it works. So I'm just going to pop this up here. I think you guys can just respond to that. We'll see. Okay. There is like a 20-second delay, so if I look like I'm thinking really hard about your question, that's probably what's going on. All right. So, yeah, welcome everybody to Cole's Ants. I'm Cole, and here to celebrate 10,000 subs, which is a huge milestone. Really appreciate just being here and all of your support. It's been awesome just getting all the support that you guys have given in the comments. Yeah, it often takes a long time to get here, so the fact that I've gotten here in 6 months is pretty amazing. So thanks to you guys. And we are live, right? We're going? Cool. Just checking. All right, so Antarchists, first question. Yeah, they kind of fizzled out. Without a queen, they didn't have, they couldn't make more babies, and they just kind of fizzled out. Two of them were hanging on for a while, and so I kind of called them the dynamic duo. But then they didn't make it. If you're not sure what the Antarchists are, I bought a colony of honeypot ants. The queen died, and so we just had a small group of little rebels that, you know, didn't didn't believe in government. All right, Q&A. I'm not seeing more Q&As. Oh, it is coming through on the other chat. Sorry, the other one was not working. Okay. How are the Myrmecocystus? Yes. So Myrmecocystus queens are good. If you saw my video that came out yesterday, we've got the honeypot queens. So watch that video if you haven't seen it. This is the rosebuds with Queen Blossom. They're doing great. They're killing it. They've got about 15 workers, and the queen Blossom is pretty puffy with nectar, and I thought that was a good thing. And then someone in the comments actually said that they will use the queen as a replete if they don't have repletes to store like food, which is kind of dumb because as smart as ants are, they're also very dumb. So that will slow down egg production apparently, and so I need to either give them a ceiling or you know, give them less nectar and have them eat protein. But they're doing good. Bubbles is still, she has two workers, and I'll connect my phone so that you guys can see. And then, babe, if you could like call out any questions too that I'm missing, just so I'm.
Just saying out loud.
Yeah, any interesting questions so, as I'm doing this because I'm not going to be watching the chat.
What do I need to start a colony?
What do I need to start a colony? Well, you need a queen ant and a test tube setup like one of these. It's pretty easy to make. You can get a sponge or cotton ball and fill it about halfway with water, and that's the basics. There's plenty of resources online too about that. I'm gonna mute this and join.
How are the minions of Midas?
Minions of Midas. I will get to that in a minute because we have some updates on that. They are a bigger story. Okay. There we go. Should be able to see that now. Cool. So Blossom,
It just went away.
it went away. Oh yeah, I'm reconnecting. So there we go. Blossom's looking nice and fat, as you can see, with nectar. But apparently we don't want that. So we want to be able to give the repletes that nectar and not have it in the queen. Here is Bubbles, as you can see. She's doing pretty well, but still just the two workers. So I don't know. For whatever reason, Bubbles just isn't as productive as the other queens, and that could just be a number of different reasons. But for whatever reason, she's not, functioning at her full capacity like other queens would. I'm gonna put on my other macro lens here, and then here is Queen Buttercup of the Reese's Puffs, which I just friggin' love the name. And here we go. You can see, oh yeah, that's a good shot. Hi, Buttercup. She's a cutie. So there's Queen Buttercup. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
What's your favorite colony right now?
My favorite colony, honestly, I love watching the Raiders of Arrakis. This is their setup. So a little behind the scenes. I'm gonna cut this. Okay. So a little behind the scenes. I have moved them into a new setup. They were in an ant lab setup like this. This is the bulldozers right now, my harvester ants. These guys are awesome. They also still make me laugh. I haven't done an update on them in a while, but I will do one soon because they have a story that I want to tell. So let's put these guys away. And the Raiders of Arrakis, I've moved into this setup here. And they're doing great, except they're dying, which doesn't sound like they're doing great. Here, let me uncover this for you. Their numbers are still growing, and they went in this right away. They moved very quickly. Normally, when you try and move a colony, they'll take forever and then, eventually move. But they're dying at like a steady rate, still slower than they're actually growing, so they are still growing. But I'm losing about 2 to 3 workers, every week and a half, which is not good. In fact, I kept some of them in here so I could show you. Yep, so there's one. There's one dead worker. Here's another. And I don't know what's going on. They're eating well. They're growing. I moved them into a clean setup. But for whatever reason, yeah, they're dying. And it's been that way for a while, which is why I moved them into a new setup. But it's still, I don't know, for whatever reason. All right, what's next?
If you had unlimited resources, what would your ant room look like?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, if I had a bigger house with my own room, I'd probably look like maybe the Crafting Ants. He's got a sweet setup. If he's in the comments here, he's my buddy Neek from the Crafting Ant. So, keep an eye on.
That was from the crafting ant.
Oh, okay. Well, it looked like your setup, buddy. He's got like colonies on shelves and stuff, and he's got like temperature controlled things. So watch out for his comments too, because he'll be engaging. So if he's like talking to me back and forth, let me know. Okay. Also keep an eye out for Antlantis. Okay. Nami's at an ant show, or not an ant show, a reptile show right now, selling his ants, but he'll be popping on the chat here and there. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you guys. You guys are all over.
Fire ants?
Funny enough, I have some fire ants. I'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, my ant room, I think if I could have any colonies that I wanted, trapjaws just look so cool. I would love to have a colony of trapjaw ants. Bull ants, just those like big mandibles, and they're just freaking huge and stuff. And then in a world where like ants didn't die when you tried to keep them alive, I think Dinomyrmex gigas would just be awesome. They're the largest ants in the world. They're like freaking big ants, So fire ants, Joanne, thank you for the question. a few weeks ago, some fire ants started to have a nuptial flight in our bedroom. How many viewers are we at, by the way? How many people are watching?
We had 32 a second ago.
32. All right.
Now we're at 26.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
By the way, the crafting ant said, I think you can do better than my room.
So these are fire ants. Let me turn on my camera again because these guys are tiny. But yes, so I walked into our bedroom and wouldn't you know it, there's ants all over the walls and the ceiling. I did a short on this, and they turned out to be fire ants. So I kept them, and my lovely wife is still supportive even though she doesn't really want fire ants in the house. Here we go. So we do have a pile of brood. It's kind of hard to tell what they are. They still look like eggs to me, but there could be larvae. I'm not sure. There's 2 queens in here that have wings, so they're probably, infertile. But there is one that she broke off her wings, and she's making a brood pile. So hopefully you guys can see that. Keep the questions coming too, babe, if there's other questions.
How was your partner's reaction to keeping ants?
Well, she's supportive. She knows I'm a nerd. It's like, it surprised her, but also not, I've always been into animals and nerdy things and very intense hobbies, whatever that may be. And so that could actually be a segue of how I got into ant keeping, if that would be good. Ants has never been my thing, but I have been making videos. So I've always been making videos, and I've always, loved animals and things like that. So I started watching, my brother and I were working on an AI brainstorming tool, which is where it started. And we had to have a bunch of conversations to make training data about different topics for brainstorming. So one of the hypothetical brainstorms was how do you make a better ant nest, or like how cool ant nests. And so we started brainstorming that. And my knowledge of ants probably capped out at around age 12, so I started thinking about that, and then I started watching Ants Canada. And down the rabbit hole we go. I was really inspired by someone that could just tell a good story on something very simple and like ants. And I loved the progression of starting with a queen to growing the colony, moving out of the test tube into a nest, into a bigger nest, and then he created these all elaborate things. And I love the fact that he named his colonies and all that stuff. So that kind of got me into it. I started doing it just for fun, posting them online. And then, it kind of turned into this big machine. And now you can't stop the growth of the colony.
A few people would like to know how the Concrete Rebels are doing.
Concrete Rebels, yeah, they're doing fine. They're right here. Thank you. This is helpful, by the way, having you. They can't really be stopped. These guys require almost no attention at all. They'll eat anything. I've fed them Cheerios. I've fed them I'm a lot less careful with them than I are with my other colonies, just because I know they're so resilient. I mean, this species has been to space for that reason. So they're kind of my experimental colony if I'm going to try new foods, or I'm going to, do something that the other sensitive colonies might respond negatively to. The Concrete Rebels, I'm like, hey, you guys can take it. You're the strongest. So yeah, they're growing. They got a big old brood pile. No complaints there.
Do you have leaf cutters on your list?
No, leaf cutters, maybe someday. But I'm just trying to keep my current ants alive. And leaf cutters, you got to have the humidity right for the fungus. You got to have the temperature right and all that stuff. So it's a little more advanced than what I have time for right now. This might actually be a good time to give some info. So I have an announcement to make. My wife and I actually have an announcement to make. We are expecting our first baby boy in just a few weeks. So little baby Cody is going to be joining the colony, and my wife has just been amazing through the whole pregnancy. Really supportive in this. So that's exciting. So all that to say, the frequency of my uploads may change a little bit over the next few months as I figure out my life and the new normal of having a baby, because they require a little bit more maintenance than ants do. But yeah, that is, yeah, comments are rolling in now. Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, she's done great. If you'd like to show your face, you can. If you want to. Yeah, this is my lovely wife, Chloe.
Hi there.
And yeah, she's been doing great. Little baby Cody. Thank you, baby. All right. What else? What other questions we got? A little ant keeper, yep.
Do you know Camponotus substitutus?
Substitutus.
Someone is suggesting.
Is that when Camponotus teacherus is out on vacation? No, I don't know that one, but I can give you an update on the minions of Midas. Someone asked about that a little while ago. So for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on, and they were doing great. They were multiplying. They had about 15, 16 workers, right? I gave them an outworld, and then they started dying, and I'm not sure why. And they started dying where the workers would go into the outworld, and they'd hang out there for like 2 days, not doing anything, not eating, just hanging out in the outworld. And then they started dying. And they went from 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, all the way down to one worker. And then that worker died, and there was no other workers to open the cocoons. And so I don't know what's going on. Queen Midas and Queen Aurum are fine. But yeah, we're down to 0. Oh, wait, we have a worker. It worked. Okay, so yesterday, this is just yesterday, I started opening the cocoons, which was very scary because it's just squish, you know? You don't want to squish them. But I opened one of the cocoons actually a week ago, and she was squirming around, and Nami informed me, and I was like, I opened them. I'm not sure why it's not working, but he said if she was squirming around when she got opened, that probably means that her exoskeleton was already hardening when inside the cocoon. She was overly ready to come out, and then they come out deformed because they come out soft, and then their exoskeleton hardens, and then they can walk around. But if they harden when they're in the cocoon, that can cause them to be deformed. So this little guy, it looks like he made it, or she, sorry. I opened her up, and she's moving around now. So that's good. But they're kind of on emergency. They're kind of in the intensive care unit right now. Not sure why, for whatever reason. If anyone has any insights, I'm all ears.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you shoot with and what lens you use?
Yeah, camera lens, Niger's ant colony. No, I don't have that. So I honestly, I have, I'm shooting on an FX3 right here, and I've got a G Master Pro 2 lens and then another macro lens. But honestly, most of the time, I just use this and my phone, because trying to get the exposure and the f-stop right and the focus and ants are moving around and stuff, it's just easier to slap on this little, what is it, apexel zoom macro lens, and I just slap it on there, and then I'm able to get the shots that I need. So this is it. 30, 40 bucks, worth it.
Atlantis is here, says hello.
What's up, Nami? Hey. How's the show going, man? How's the turnout? We'll take about 20 seconds.
Someone said, how often do you check on your ants?
I check on so some of them, the ones in test tubes, I try and check on them like once a week because they're still kind of new. Versus like the Megamines here, I freaking check on these guys every day. They are always doing something. They were having a party in this corner just this morning for no reason. There was like half the colony was just in this corner, and I was looking for a crumb of food, looking for a reason why they were over there. I just don't know, and now they're gone. So there's just little things that they do that just kind of, it's entertaining. I don't understand why, but the Megamines are doing great. They love their new setup. Thank you to the crafting ant for this again. Let's see, who haven't we talked about? Are there any more questions?
Will you ever get marauder ants?
Marauder ants. Marauder ants would be cool. I am kind of the philosophy right now of just getting ants that are native to where I live, at least to start. I'm not against carefully getting ants from other places, but I think learning to keep ants from the places that you live is a good first step. Obviously, if you're in somewhere cold, like where Niek is in the Netherlands, you don't have many options. You pretty much have Lasius niger and Lasius niger. So, let's see. Dude, just caught a Fidoli queen in a pool this morning. I'm so excited. Nice.
What species are your Fidoli?
I don't know. I actually, if someone goes on the short, there's a picture of me holding the queen up. I know it's Fidoli, but I'm not quite sure what species. So if you can help me identify, that'd be awesome.
Do you shop from ant keepers?
Do I shop from ant keepers? Yeah, I've gotten ants from Stateside Ants. Tony, he runs that. He gave me the Megamines and the Concrete Rebels. That was that mystery box episode, and then Antlantis Nami. He's he's the guy we've gone out and caught ants from. He's supplied me with ants and other stuff that I need. So yeah, how are the bulldozers? They're doing great. They are here, and I am actually planning to move them because they're doing fine. They're not dying like the raiders, but I have this nest. It's similar, like this, and I love this because it's white, so you can see them very well. It's heated, so you can plug this in, and then attach an outworld just like this, and it's cool because I can stack them together. So I will be moving them soon, and that will be an episode in and of itself. I'm kind of working on an episode right now of moving all my ant colonies into new places and moving them out of what was my office, which is now going to be the nursery for the baby. So that'll be kind of a whole moving episode in and of itself. Where do you buy your fruit flies for your ants? I don't have like a go-to fruit fly guy, just online. Crickets and fruit flies wherever I can find them. Pogonomyrmex. Would you ever try to make a project like a terrarium? I have done terrariums, actually. In fact, I have one right here. And I made this actually with the intention of putting an ant colony in it. But then I learned more about ant colonies and how fickle they are and how humidity and temperature and everything needs to be just right. And my guess is that they probably die in here. So I didn't do a live one. But maybe someday I'll do like a live terrarium where there's soil and stuff, because then you don't have to clean up after them. They eat the crickets decompose, cycle of life, cycle of death, that kind of thing. All right.
How many workers do you think the bulldozers have?
The bulldozers, last time I checked, they were at 26. Let's find out.
Also, Atlantis will start selling fruit flies soon.
Oh, there you go. Cool. Atlantis will start selling fruit flies. I need to remember to repeat your comments because they can't hear in the microphone. Yeah, keep reading out the comments to me.
Okay, just all comments?
Or the important ones.
Questions.
If someone just says poop or something, I don't need to know.
Are you going to get bullet ants?
Bullet ants is a no for me. They are super cool. I admire and respect them, but no, not in my house. If they get out, that's just not good.
Thank you.
My wife says thank you.
What about weaver ants?
Weaver ants are amazing, but again, I feel like they require such a setup. Like Ants Canada has his giant vivariums and stuff where like weaver ants can really do their thing and show off. And I think I'm gonna stick to more low maintenance ants than that. I like, I love learning about the different types of ants and stuff, and like Dracula ants are awesome. Maybe I could get Dracula ants, but ones that require a lot of specific conditions, it's hard to replicate unless I have a big ant room. Then maybe, yeah.
How much work is it for you to make each video, and where do you store all your footage?
That is a good question.
Ask the question again.
Oh, the question is, how do I make,
How much work is it?
How much work is it to make each video, and where do I store my footage? Well, so I go about my videos a little differently than other videos that I make. I am a professional video creator. That's what I do. But for these, the process is a little different because you're observing these little ants doing whatever they're doing, and then you have to observe something in there that you can build a story around, whether that's their reaction to a different source of food, or they're dying and you need to fix it, or they're growing, whatever. You have to look for these little observations and build a story around it, and then focus on that as you get footage of them doing that. Then it's writing the script, because honestly, my videos are just ants in test tubes. That's all the footage is, really. So on its own is not super interesting to watch unless you embellish it with a story. So writing really, to answer your question, writing really takes the most time for me to craft that story. I'd say I spend 20 hours even just on the script. And then editing for me is pretty fast, because I look at the footage and I say they did this, and then I make a comment of like, oh, she went down the tube and ate the nectar. And then I'll kind of comment as I go through my footage. I edit in Final Cut Pro X. I also use Adobe Premiere for work and DaVinci Resolve, but for my personal projects, I like using Final Cut Pro. I store my footage on hard drives. Oh, someone did say poop. Great. I kind of asked for that. And then, oh, thank you. Someone said, you're my favorite YouTuber, man. That's amazing. So I store my footage on a hard drive and then edit it. So my videos in total take about 30, 40 hours. Yeah, I'm trying to get that down because I can't, doing that is, it delays like 20 seconds for sure. All right. Do I have any background in it, or, oh, here. You're an excellent storyteller. Do you have any background in this, or has it just come out when you started ant keeping? Like I said, I'm a videographer by trade. So I do corporate marketing, and I've done videos for a number of different things. So storytelling through a visual medium has always been my passion and focus. I'm actually consider myself a motion graphics artist. I love doing motion graphics and animation. Some of that has slipped into this, but for the most part, I'm trying to get these videos out so I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of advanced animation. But it's all about the story. If you can tell a good story, it doesn't matter what your subject matter is. So if you can just focus on storytelling, you'll be fine. How about vampire ants? Vampire ants are pretty cool. If you don't know what they are, I'm assuming you're talking about Dracula ants. Dracula ants have a habit of leaching the hemoglobin, which is like ant blood, out of their own babies' bodies. Which, if you thought that your Thanksgiving dinners were bad with your family, imagine that.
Mommy's gonna have leafcutter ants this year.
Ooh, all right.
Hopefully set them up.
Nami's going to have leafcutter ants this year. Atlantis is going to sell leafcutters. That's cool.
Crafting ant will help you set them up.
Oh, okay. Thanks, buddy. The crafting ant will help me set them up. Rice reptiles, same? I'm not sure.
Do you have any ants that aren't revealed yet?
Ants that aren't revealed yet. I have revealed all of my ants. Yes. But that's a fair question, because for a long time, I was having trouble with colonies dying, so I'm like, I'm not going to show them until I know that they're okay. But I've kind of come to realize that it's good to just be transparent with what's going on, but also we're all kind of learning this together, even people that have been doing this a long time. I'll like with the minions of Midas, I'm talking to Nami, and Nami's a walking ant encyclopedia, and he's like, I don't know why they're dying, but you can try this, that, and the other thing. Try opening the cocoons, try taking out the outworld. There's like best practices and stuff, but sometimes ants just do things that we're not sure why.
Can you talk about trapjaw ants again, if you'll ever have them, and what about Dracula ants?
Trapjaw ants, yeah, they would be awesome. So they suck the blood of their babies, and I'm not sure where they're native to, but I know they're all over. I could consider getting Dracula ants in the future. Trapjaw ants would be pretty cool too. I think there's, I'll have to see if there's some that are native to North America.
Where do you see yourself in the future with the hobby of ant keeping?
Where do I see myself in the future with the hobby of ant keeping? That is a good question. Oh man, I am behind. Oh, here we go. Show on stream. Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep going, seeing what this is. Like I said, it may look a little different once I welcome my son into the world and we figure out what life looks like. I may have to take the foot off the gas a little bit, but I've uploaded something every single week since January 1st. There was only 1 week that I skipped, and that was last year. But since I started this, I have uploaded something every single week. That's really hard to do with a full-time job, So, and then with a baby coming, so I'm not sure how much attention I'm going to be able to give this, but I do know I want to keep doing this. I want to keep telling stories. I've got like 3 or 4 more stories in the queue that I want to tell. Here, I'll show you some of my... So I'm just going to keep going, and now that I've hit 10K, because 10K was kind of this little distant dream, and now I'm here, and we're almost at 11K. So I'm kind of thinking, shoot, maybe I go for 100. Maybe I go for 100K and get that YouTube plaque. I think that would be amazing. Yeah, it's all about what people are into and if they want to keep seeing that. So if you want to help me out, share my videos with people, friends and family that you think will love my videos, and that would be the biggest help to me.
A lot of people are asking if you'll be keeping termites or if you've thought about that, and I can go ahead and answer that. The answer is no.
Here, grab a mic. You can answer that question. You just grab this mic. All right. The question was, are you going to keep termites?
The answer is no, he won't be.
Well, elaborate. Or you
Do I need to elaborate?
Or you can tell about the time that I did bring home termites.
There was a time when I came home one day and I saw a bag on the counter with little pieces of wood in it. And to my horror, I realized that there were termites on our dining table. They're not in the house anymore.
They are not in the house.
Sorry.
Oh, will wifey have her own mic next time? Yeah, well, I just handed her a mic, so yeah, that was probably a good call. Do you color grade my videos? Yes, I do. I spend some time, it really elevates your footage. If you can just take the raw footage and just do a basic color correction on it, it really does elevate it. Who's the setup in the front? That is the Raiders of Arrakis, my desert long-legged ants. And they are so fun to watch eat. They are hungry. I'm almost wondering if I'm not giving them enough food, but I'm giving them like 3 crickets a week, and they're, yeah, they just devour it. Would I keep spiders? Ants are cooler. I mean, spiders are cool too. I just, I think there's something about ants that's like gamified pets. There's progression. they grow, right? You start with 1, and then it's 2, and then it's 3, and 10, and 12, and spiders are, I don't know, maybe not. Probably not. Oh, let me show you the big-headed ants. Is that a wide lens attachment for you? No, it's a macro lens. The lens that I'm using right now is a macro lens, so I can get up and get close-ups. Right now, this is the Megaminds.
A lot of people want you to keep termites.
Why termites? I'm curious. Why? What's the appeal there? I mean, I kind of get it. Prefer feeding sugars in test tubes or liquid feeders? I'm gonna... Liquid feeders are good when the colony's bigger. Right now, I'm just feeding them in little dishes because they don't need much. So I'm feeding them like twice a week. But eventually, like once the honey pots are going, yeah, I'm gonna use liquid feeders.
Have you heard of Valentine ants?
I have heard of Valentine ants. Nami and I have found some Valentine ants when we were out looking for ants. They flip their little butts over their heads and spray formic acid. It's pretty cool.
The crafty ant is saying you should get some.
I should get some Valentine ants. They would be cool. It is fun interacting. Like, so the Raiders of Arrakis, say these are honestly so fun to watch. But whenever I take the lid off and to feed them or clean up their outworld or anything, they all come out and fight. They're all like, they're just like so feisty and territorial, and it's kind of hilarious. So seeing Valentine ants coming out and like engaging would be funny.
Nami said termites are so similar to ants in terms of their social capabilities.
Yeah, it's true. So different social insects. So bees, wasps, termites, ants. I think those are the main ones. But they're called social insects, and they have kind of that structure where they have a queen/king, right? And then all the worker ants or insects. But ants are just interesting in that they're so much more diverse. There's a lot of diversity in bees and wasps and termites, but there's no contest when it comes to ants. They've cornered every part of the globe. They've filled all kinds of different niches, and they've just found something that works, which is pretty cool because up until like the late Cretaceous, ants were not very diverse. We just find standard ants, kind of like your pavement ants. But then something happened once the dinosaurs went extinct, they just diversified and exploded. Also, bees didn't show up until the Cretaceous either, because flowering plants didn't show up until the Cretaceous.
Have the megaminds ever escaped from their new home?
Okay. Have the megaminds ever escaped from their new home? Where's that question? Yep. The answer is kind of. They've tried. So this is their new home, and it's not a fault in the design of this. They have gone up to the top. There's a little lip. So there's a little gap in between where the lid touches, and it's sealed. They can't get out. But they will go up and wait in the gap. And then when I remove the lid to feed them, they crawl out and they wait there for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? These little buggers are so smart. So I'm thinking I'm gonna remove this top, put Fluon on top of it, and then put it back. But that is a maneuver that I don't know you actually want me to do on a live stream, or maybe you do. We could do it right now if you wanted.
We've got a few comments saying Cole's bees, hashtag Cole's bees, and then Stan the Ant said Cole's termites.
Yep.
Cole's termites, bees, and beetles.
Hey, you know what? Hey, if I get to 1,000 subs or 100,000 subs, and this actually is somewhat of a viable business, I'll do all kinds of stuff because I'll have my own ant room. Yeah, I don't know. I could, they are truly the mega minds. Yes, they are. Where do I get my ant nests? Well, I get them all over. Thank you, Rices. Yeah, some of them I've gotten from AliExpress. Others I've gotten from the Crafting Ant, like this one. Eukarya, where made these ant labs. Let's see, these little outworlds, Amazon. I've got a whole box over there, just various places. Some are on Etsy. What?
Cole's Worms.
Cole's Worms.
Cole's Kids.
Cole's Kids would be a cool channel, all about being a parent.
What happened to the gumdrops?
The gumdrops. Oh, I'm heartbreaking story. I don't know. So the gumdrops. I think it was It was something with the temperature, where sometimes they go into diapause and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they need a short diapause, but for whatever reason they just stopped eating. I couldn't get them to eat anything, and they just kind of slowly died. And then they would do weird things, like they'd bring their brood into the outworld. And I had a whole story on them, but I was building, but I was hoping for some kind of like turnaround where they'd come back, and I could have that tale of victory like I did with these guys, with the Raiders. But they didn't, so they fizzled out, unfortunately, which is a shame. I like them because they have the red heads. Nami from Atlantis, he caught some Myrmecocystis placidops, which is another honeypot ant, but they've got black bodies and red heads, and I think it would be really cool to have a placidops colony, because with black bodies and red heads, that reminds me of Ghost Rider with the leather jacket and the flame head, so I definitely call them the Ghost Riders. I should try Tar Heel ants. Yeah, I think I will try some Tar Heel ant nests. I've heard good things about them. Thank you, everyone, for being here and talking. This is really fun. I hope it's fun for you too.
When will your next Q&A be?
When will my next Q&A be? I'm not sure. This is the first time I've done this, and I haven't really thought about it. So if you'd like this, we can do this format on a regular basis, maybe once a month or something. I'd be open to it, but it depends on what you guys want. Oh, my brother's on the stream. Scotty Pittsford says, "Would you ever keep lizards?" I would love to keep lizards. We grew up catching lizards, all kinds of lizards, reptiles and stuff. My wife is not too fond of lizards.
Thanks, Scotty.
But he's got 3 awesome little painted agamas, which are so sweet. Cole's beetles, all these ideas for great channels, you guys. I love it. Put the heat pad under with the outworld, which is why they put their brood out there. Yeah, that too. But they were also so Joanne was talking about the gumdrops, but they were also just acting bizarre. They weren't. Yeah, and I think it had to do with the heat. They didn't have enough heat or something, or they didn't diapause when they needed to. Not sure. Have the Raiders ever escaped from their house? No, they haven't. They're much bigger, so they're easier to. One time when I was transferring them, I left the lid off for a little too long, and one of them crawled out, but you just pick them up, put them back. It's a lot easier when they're bigger.
Atlantis says you should do a poll for your next colony.
Ooh, okay. Well, like I said, my next focus on the colony is my child. But once that is calmed down, I think I will get a couple more colonies. But I want to get these guys situated first.
There was a question about, would you ever do a video on the process of creating an ant video?
Yeah, would I do, where is that? Would I do a video on the process of making a video? Yeah, sure.
Recording equipment and editing, writing process.
I could do that. Yeah, I've found that my main audience, they like stories. I've tried doing some science videos. I've tried doing like the podcast video. I've tried, I'm talking about ant sleep and other stuff, but it seems like stories are what capture people's attention. So I've really kind of leaned into that as my main format. But maybe I could do it as a short, just talking about how I make my videos. Yeah.
Where did you get the foam for the test tubes?
This thing, I've had this question so many times. Person on Etsy, if you are watching this product is highly requested. They took it off, but I found it on Etsy. It's just simple foam block with a bunch of holes in it for test tubes. I use this thing all the time, and it's really great because it dampens vibrations, keeps them, keeps them dark and quiet. But I haven't been able to find it anymore. So if you find it, put it in the chat.
The Megaminds took the gumdrops brains. Comment.
Could be. Do you hear our dog? He's dreaming. What happened? Yeah. Let's see, what else? Cole's wife documents Cole's behavior. Honestly, that could make for an interesting series on its own.
Oh, yeah. Stories. How many times have you been bit by your ants?
Actually, none. Well, the raiders, actually, they're pretty feisty. They've tried to bite me, but they can't, pierce your skin, so they'll try, but they're just kind of, Would you keep slaving ants? Slaver ants, so parasitic ants, they're more complicated, right? Because they don't start typically with a queen and then they grow. They either take over a colony, so there's slaver ants that will infiltrate other colonies, like the queen, and she'll go kill the other queen, take over that colony, then emit pheromones that say, hey, I'm the queen now, I'm the captain now, and she rules that colony, and then she lays her children, which will enslave the other workers. And then there's others that go on raids and they take larvae from other colonies and then raise them to enslave. But the process of starting those colonies is not as straightforward as just put them in a tube, feed them, let them grow. So probably not. I won't do slaver ants. It's the craziest thing that happened when you were either trying to feed a colony or move a colony. Well, you saw the episode with the Megaminds, with them getting out. That was pretty eventful. And that's when they're small. If you've watched any of the Crafting Ants videos where he's trying to add on more modules too, and the colony nest is stuffed to the brim and he moves off and they're pouring out. When they get to that size, because these little suckers, they love to grow. And they're hungry. They eat more than the bulldozers. They'll eat as much as they give them.
Can you remind us what your favorite colony is right now?
My favorite colony, it goes back and forth between the bulldozers and the Raiders of Arrakis. I think right now it's the Raiders because I can see them a lot easier in this setup. They're moving around, they're hunting, they're moving brood around. And in this, it just, the fluon barrier blocks it a little bit. It's not as shallow, so getting my camera up, I can only kind of get one side at a time. Although a tub and tube setup, this is a great standard setup if you're just keeping ants and not trying to run a YouTube channel to film them, because all you need is a test tube and an outworld, and there it is. And then you just feed them in there, you can watch them hunt around. It's the basic, most easy setup you can have because they have their humidity, they have their water source, whereas nests like this, you have to hydrate with water. Same with this one, you've got to keep it hydrated so that the brood don't dry out, that kind of thing.
Are there ways to support you?
Other ways to support me? Yes. If you want to support me, there we go. There's a link down there, support me at Ko-fi at colesants.com. Follow that link. You can do a super chat, but I've heard that YouTube takes a good slice of that. So if you want to support me, that's how you can do it. And if you do, my wife will shoot me with silly string, which we have over there.
I think we had one earlier.
Did we?
Person All right, next time I will.
Can you find out who it was so I can say thank you?
Yes, let me look.
All right. 9:23. Oh my. Okay. Let me get back to the chat here.
We've got a little less than 10 minutes left.
Less than 10 minutes. Okay. Can you show us inside the Raiders of Arrakis nest? Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, keep reading out the comments and.
Okay. Would you ever try to create a super colony? We'd like to see a really big colony.
I would love to get a big. That's my goal. The colony must grow, right? I want to get to a point where I can drop in a full cockroach and just watch them devour it. All right, so I'm going to show you the Raiders of Arrakis inside their colony. Thanks for being patient, everyone, too. Again, this is my first time streaming, so appreciate the support. So in here, here's their water tower. So that's where I hydrate the nest. And then we've got their main chamber in here. You can see the queen is back there. She's a little bit in the shadows. But we've got a good amount of brood. And then out here, this is their kind of chamber closer to their outworld. And then out here, we've got the desert sands. But yeah, here's inside their colony. They're just fun. They're so active, and I don't know why they're dying. That's the thing is I wish I could figure it out. All the signs point that they're a healthy colony. You know, they're eating, they're active, they're growing, but they keep dropping like flies. But like at a steady rate. It's not a colony die-off. They're just steadily dropping 1 or 2 a week.
It looks like Atlantis just wants to see you hit with a silly string and just sent you some support.
Did you? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nami. Appreciate it, bud. That's weird. I'm not seeing that come in. Shouldn't it pop up?
I don't know, it popped up for me.
It did? Okay. Well, thank you. And if I've missed anyone else that's supported me, thank you. New donation from the crafting ant. You missed. Thank you, Neek. Appreciate you. How much time we got? We got 6 minutes left.
6 minutes.
Then we got to go to a baby shower because all of our friends are having babies too. Well, this has been super fun. Where did you get the lens? I got it on Amazon. I'm not going to find the link right now, but if you just search macro lens for iPhone, clip it on. There's a bunch. Try keeping Carabera diversa. Michael likes my channel. Thank you, Michael.
Rice's Reptile said his ball python is enjoying watching you.
I love ball pythons. Please give your ball python a good pet for me. Oh yeah, thank you, Neek. Apixel lens. Carabera diversa. What are those again? I am still learning all the names. Let me check that out. Are these... Oh, marauder ants. Where are they? Yeah, I don't know. Marauder ants would be cool because they got those huge majors, you know, that are just giant. But I'm not sure. How many workers can Nova Messer get? I'm not sure, actually.
This is an older question. Where do you get where do you find the music for your videos?
Music for my videos, good question. I've got subscriptions to Artlist. hangout.io, and it's a stock music and footage site that I use, and I tend to use that more than the others.
Someone asked if you'll ever keep snakes. I can go ahead and take that one. He'll keep termites before we keep snakes.
Sorry, snake lovers. I love snakes. Yeah, but that's how it is. That's how it is. Testimonium bicarinatum is a good species for expanding fast. Yeah, so are Cole's being bullied by silly string. Yeah, the big-headed ants. Honestly, these guys are great, and they do grow very quickly. So do fire ants. I found that the carpenter ants, they tend to grow slower if you don't want something that's going to explode. But a lot of them do require diapause and can be a little tricky. I got lucky on my first time, with my carpenter ants, but then I accidentally killed them with poison apples. I'm so sad about that.
How many cocoons do Myrmecocystus queens have during founding?
So I can only, again, I'm not an ant expert, so I can only speak to what I've seen. But the cocoons, the first with the honey pots that I have, the rosebuds and the Reese's Puffs, they had about 8 to 10 cocoons their first round. So that's about what it is.
Are you feeding the raiders any seeds?
The raiders have not taken any seeds, no. So the species is Novomessor coccarelli, and they don't take seeds. You don't even need to feed them nectar, but when I do feed them nectar, they love it. They absolutely swarm it. But they can live just off of insect protein. The Campanota CaO2 queens. I covered this earlier. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they're not doing good. They're kind of in the intensive care unit right now. Queen Midas and Queen Aurum are doing fine, but the rest of the colony died off, and I'm trying to figure out why. We're down to one worker, which I had to manually open the cocoon to get. So, not sure what's going on there, but it's not good. And I'm so bummed because they were doing so well. They were off to a great start. So I'm hoping we can turn things around. Can feed frozen, yes. I feed all the food that I feed my ants are frozen. One, because they last longer that way. But yeah, I freeze all my stuff. No live mice necessary. Oh, are we talking about snakes? Whatever. How much money do you get by posting shorts and videos? Shorts, next to nothing. My most successful short probably got about 60 cents. But the videos have become a good side hustle, especially the ones that really take off. They have made a good amount. Not, at the point, it's still just a side gig. But if I get somewhere around like 100,000 subs, I could consider doing this full time. So help me get there, please.
It is 10 a.m.
It is 10 a.m.
Kind of a closing thank you. You're getting a lot of love, by the way.
Getting a lot of love. I see it. The comments roll in. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate you being here today. I had fun. I hope you had fun. And let me know if you want to do this again. And yeah, any other questions, I'll be happy to answer in the comments. But thank you so much for 10,000 subs, and here's to the next 10,000. Thanks, everybody.